male in their 20s, but you happen to be around a bunch of other men or a bunch of other grandmothers, perhaps, or a bunch of children, your testosterone levels drop.
Welcome back to the Wilson Brothers channel. I'm David. This is Isaac, and we got the Viking here today. Men, are you tired of your testosterone going down the drain and you looking more like a woman? Well, you came to the right place.
You came to the right place, son.
Welcome back to the Wilson Brothers. Don't forget to subscribe because we come out with videos Monday through Friday and you don't want to miss a thing. Today we're reacting to a video of Chris Williamson interviewing Louise Perry, who she is an expert in sexual health, and she has her own podcast. She's an author, really well known for bringing things to light that a lot of people don't think about. She interviews people, so she has a history of learning from a lot of doctors and influencers. So
she has a nice smile too.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's a beautiful English woman.
All right, well, let's get started. I'm really curious. I haven't seen this yet. I think, Jordan, you have.
Yeah.
So I want to be educated on why my testosterone might be lower than it should be, okay?
It is possible that the sex recession, so-called, is partly hormonal. It's partly caused by, it might partly be caused by women being on hormonal birth control, which is changing their sexuality. It might also be caused by men being lower T.
So the low testosterone for men, do you want to hear my real horseshoe theory for this?
Okay.
Right. So I learned this whilst talking to Dr. Sarah Hill, who wrote This Is Your Brain on Birth Control, right? And she taught me that male testosterone levels are mediated by the fertility of the women in their local ecology. So if you were a male in their 20s, but you happen to be around a bunch of other men or a bunch of other grandmothers, perhaps, or a bunch of children, your testosterone levels drop.
Interesting.
And what you have are women who are very highly artificially suppressing their fertility. So men are able to smell the t-shirt of a woman and be able to pick the one that they're most attracted to is the one who is currently at that stage of her cycle. She's currently fertile, etc., etc. They can see, they've done studies where men watch women's silhouettes walking, and the women who are currently during their 7-day you can get me pregnant period, they're the ones that they're most attracted to. The silhouette of the way they walk displays
and high heels replicate that. That's the idea. The high heels make you walk in that distinctive
jiggle
way,
in that way.
That make you look.
So
like
you have this recursive feedback loop of hormonal birth control causes women to select for men who are more providers rather than protectors. They want provisioners, right? They want the academic and the resources more agreeable. They then either come off or don't come off birth control, but find that they come out this hormonal fugue state. Oh my God, who am I in a relationship with? But you also have this effect on men too, not only socially I noticed that lots of women seem to be attracted to Timothy Chalamet, who's painting his nails and kind of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But the genuine physiological hormonal response to men just being around lots of women who are on hormonal birth control. Now, processed foods, not enough time outside, not enough time with vitamin D, not enough time with friends, but there's a big X factor apparently amongst testosterone researchers who don't know why men's T levels have dropped the amount that they have, right? It's about 1% a year, every year since, I think, 1950.
Wow. So
it's like, and then that goes to 100 and then it's that again and it goes to 100. So it's not how we're in minus testosterone soon, but so hormonal birth control has a lot to answer for, I think.
So that's kind of something that like a lot of people really don't think about is how pheromones could actually affect our testosterone levels, because all of the women around us are all on birth control. They're all simulating pregnancy with their birth control pills, and they're not ovulating, which is not sending the correct pheromones to us, and it's not elevating our testosterone levels anymore the way it's supposed to.
So, but in the beginning, he said that men that are around older women, children, or guys. So in other words, people that aren't getting pregnant, you're more likely to have lower testosterone if you're around them more. Is that true?
I mean, you are your environment in a lot of ways.
But I'm saying, how does that make your testosterone go down? If anything, if I'm around men more, I want to take on and destroy things even more.
Yeah, to an extent, because that has to do with competition.
But doesn't competition rise your testosterone?
It does raise your testosterone. However, what he's specifically talking about is, let's say, just for argument's sake, you're a man and you get dropped into a room with, 100 beautiful women. All of them want to have kids with you. That is natural, and they're all ovulating. That is naturally going to
very
raise...
visual person, George.
That is naturally going to raise your testosterone levels, right? Because your biology calls for it. Like, you have all these women who are willing to get pregnant by you right now.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Be fruitful and multiply. Like, your body is going to quite literally try to make that happen. But if you're surrounded around a bunch of zombies who aren't ovulating ever, then yeah, I mean, to a certain extent.
So if you're not ovulating, you're a zombie. But what if you are not ovulating, but you still want kids? So it's just the genetic, or not the, it's the hormonal aspect of a girl that isn't on birth control makes men have more testosterone because of the way our bodies react to them.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a
I've
lot.
never thought about that.
Yeah, and there's a lot that's still unknown about it, because most of the animal kingdom, like, we can exactly pinpoint how they process pheromones, like from a physiological standpoint. Humans are completely and entirely different. We know that we do process pheromones. We have studies that prove that, especially women are very, very gifted at sensing pheromones. We just don't know how we do it. Like, the organ that's usually in the roof of mammalian species' mouths, which process pheromones, we don't have that. We don't have any of the typical pheromone sensing organs laid out.
So we're just meant to walk around and just hope for the best.
Well, maybe eventually they'll figure out exactly how we sense pheromones, but as of right now, we know it exists, but scientists still don't exactly know how we do it.
If you're in the marketplace and you're going to a club or a bar and there's a bunch of women there that are sexually active, that don't want to get pregnant, that are on birth control, how does that mess with your biology and your testosterone as a man when you're in that environment around thousands of women that are on birth control at the same time? Like, how does that affect your testosterone based off what you just said?
It's hard to say, really, because I mean, you're talking about a controlled environment where people are also drinking, which is also really bad for your testosterone.
Well, I can tell you something that lowers my testosterone. Looking at Isaac's Snoopy Christmas sweater.
Look at this ugly sweater.
I want to wait for this.
But yeah, it's really interesting. And I mean, he's right. Like, there's a lot of other factors. You know,
like this. I know the ladies out there like my light up shirt right here. Can you see me?
Well,
can you see that?
eyes. You guys see what I have to put up with.
Hey man,
are you going to leave that on?
Hey man, it's Christmas time. Shut the heck up.
Are you going to leave that on during the rest of the filming?
Why not?
Oh Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Life is about opportunities. It's also about testosterone. That's what we're talking about today. So let's get back to.
I know what David's thinking. It's gonna be an editing nightmare.
Oh no, I'm just gonna have to see it the whole time I edit.
Hey man, Snoopy vibes are on point. He's an iconic character with so much love at his heart to give.
Whatever. Well, we have a lot of studies that we're going to be showing after the end of this video. So stay around, because Jordan's going to unleash his inner nerd about biology and educate you on why your testosterone also might be lower. But I want to hear what the rest.
We will also have studies in the description as well that will back up a lot of what Jordan is saying about the biology of the human species.
There are clear downsides to having a bunch of low T men, you know, in terms of fertility, in terms of men and women just fancying each other and like having functional relationships. But also, like, high testosterone is also associated with crime and violence.
Yeah.
So, which, you know, do we choose to have a society of kind of sexless, incredibly like online,
placid soy people?
Yeah. Who also
Pod people
are quite chill.
Yeah.
Don't cause like enormous problems. I don't know. That's like a genuinely hard thing to choose.
Yeah, you could almost look at it kind of like disposition sterilization.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
we have problems with like this is a real problem with the military. I'm sure you know, like massive recruitment problems.
I thought that was because everyone's fat and got diabetes.
Well, that too.
Right.
But also not being interested in it.
But men just don't want to wage war.
Yeah.
We can do it from Modern Warfare or I'm on Reddit.
It's probably also partly to do with lack of like faith in the nation. Like being less patriotic in general. Like the pool of potentially great soldiers just gets smaller every year. And it's sort of fine, I guess, we get away with it because if we're not actually in a hot war and if we have loads of technology. But you can imagine a scenario where that becomes an enormous problem. Like a mass mobilization, I don't know how we actually fare.
The Chinese government banned K-pop. Do you see this? Because they didn't want, what was it they called them? It was like sissy men. We don't want any more sissy men. So it was all of the Chinese male role models were like super high tea jacked dudes. And they didn't want this BTS soy culture infecting them. That's what they saw it as.
Something I learned about that from I had a Ron emitter who's
I do have something to back up what he's saying. So when it comes to the engagement of military activities across border, whether it's China, Russia, or Ukraine, or any other nation outside the U.S., they're intentionally making it to where men are becoming hyper masculine and strong and high levels of testosterone to prepare for war in those other countries because they know America's weak and our men are being sterilized by pornography, by sexualized culture, by what we eat in our food, the homogenization, the pasteurization of food, the high level of birth control in our wastewater that we have that comes out of our wastewater treatment facilities. And so that this culture of demasculating men is not just coming from the media, but it's coming from what we eat, what we consume, what we watch, what we listen to. And so these other countries are preparing for, hey, if you guys are going to have weak men,
how do you
make our men strong?
How do you know that?
I'll post studies in the description. There's plenty of studies out there that are saying that they're canceling a bunch of different groups of soy boys, as he's talking about, in other countries from performing because they don't want their men to see weak men in a place of authority.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing as TikTok. How like over in China, like it's all engineering and
they show you only things that's going to make you smarter and more disciplined.
Exactly.
No, I mean, it would be good to see some studies on that because I mean, that's a bold claim I agree with, but I feel like I want to see some specific studies that show that's true.
Well, I like that both of them kind of played around with the idea that this is all something used to control us and keep us tame, keep us docile. Because, like, to a degree, like, I do agree with what she says. Like, high testosterone usually is a correlation of violence. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, that's also, like, men who are not being taught to be stoic and
uncontrolled. Men
with high testosterone who can't, like, who just never learn to control it.
No discipline.
But yeah, like the fact that like we can go to war with modern warfare, like, I mean, dude, I love the idea of fighting and, fighting for what's right. But like, dude, who the heck wants to go to boot camp and like learn how to be a badass and then go get shot by some kid in a bush, like undeservingly? Like that's not real war. Like what warfare has evolved into is not what war used to be. And it's just like it's not enticing. And if you don't have men who even really want to fight, well, that's going to hurt our testosterone levels too. Like there's so many factors that go into this.
Yeah, I like what they said because they went over society, how society is affected as a whole by testosterone levels being lowered or heightened, but they didn't go into the specifics, which I thought it would be at the video of things that tend to cause low testosterone, which you've done some research on. What are some things that you've seen, which again, we'll have all the research that he's done in the description below in case you're wondering, but what are some examples of things that have lower testosterone that us men can either avoid or are there some things we can't avoid?
Some things, I mean, you really can't avoid it. Like, for example, Isaac kind of touched on wastewater treatment plants not doing a very good job at filtering out phytoestrogens and essentially the birth control that women are taking. They pee it out and it just doesn't get filtered out very well. And we end up drinking it, not just in tap water. Like, if you're not drinking spring water, more than likely you're just drinking filtered tap water. It's just advertised under different names. But even if you drink spring water, like you're still drinking from microplastic. You're still drinking from a plastic container, and you've got microplastics to deal with, which they're starting to learn is a huge issue in both men and women. Receipts, the receipts that get printed at stores has a ton of BPAs in them. It's really like it seeps into our skin. It's really horrible endocrine disruptors. Basically everything. I mean, everything that we touch, drink from, eat, all the processed foods.
Yeah.
I mean, everything at this point, in some way, shape, or form, is hurting us.
What are some natural remedies to that?
I mean, try to not eat and drink out of plastics as much as you possibly can. Go back to glass, go back to wood, which is easier said than done. It really is, because everything is sold out of plastics. You know, get a reverse osmosis water system, you know, so that way you can drink cleaner water.
I'll actually post the one that I bought in the comments, and we can post a link for it so people can take a look. It's one that you put on your next to your tap, and it's like, I think it's like $85,
And it lasts you
family of 6 for like 6 months.
Yeah,
but it has 8 levels of filtration that it goes through, and for me, I tasted a difference immediately from my tap water when I hooked it up, because I just refuse to drink tap water straight out of the tap.
Question: even the water we're showering in, if you think about it,
You're just getting gas.
Oh yeah, because your skin is designed as an organ to absorb everything. So yeah, if you're showering with it, like, you're screwed.
So we'll send those links below, but what are some things that we can naturally do to boost our testosterone? Because if we're gonna, not just have this doom and gloom of you're screwed, you drink the water,
or
you
just
touch receipt papers.
stick yourself with a needle and take it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we have gotten to a point where TRT is probably one of the saving graces of all of this. Not that I advocate people do that first. That's kind of like a last resort type of deal. Getting more sun will always help with your testosterone levels, especially direct sunlight to the testicles.
In the morning.
Yeah, in the morning. Direct sunlight on your testicles apparently is phenomenal for raising testosterone.
Just do it.
I'm just trying to picture where I would do that.
A very
you'd have to be
secluded place.
outside.
You kind of have to do after your own
So
property.
don't get arrested trying to get sunlight
And don't
on your
blame us
testicles.
for recommending you do something that can get you arrested.
We are not liable. We hold.
Disclaimer.
Obviously, eat cleaner.
What does eat cleaner mean?
Try and eat more organic. Maybe try and develop friendships with local farmers, so that way you can get your food directly from them.
Food, milk.
Yeah.
Probably higher protein as opposed to carbs.
Yes,
stuff like that.
definitely higher protein. Adjust your fat and your carbs as much as you can. Try and make it at least, I would say like a 75-80% diet of protein. Oh man, exercising is going to increase your testosterone. A lot of people do know that, but
What are some supplements that you're taking for testosterone that are natural?
Fedosia agrestis is known to is one of the few supplements. There's a lot of natural testosterone.
Most of them
boosting.
are BS, though.
Yeah,
right?
most of them are BS. Fedosia agrestis, however, is one that is not bullshit. It's very, very real. Tongkat Ali is the other one I take to naturally boost testosterone.
We'll have both of those in the descriptions as well.
Yeah. Both of those work really, really well. There's a lot of studies that are backing those up as actually truly working.
But still do your own research.
Yeah, still do your own
FYI.
research, of course. Getting better sleep. When you're in your deepest cycle of sleep is when your body is most restorative, and a lot of that does have to do with hormones. If you're not getting enough adequate sleep, it's going to damage your hormones. And at this point, it really is a war for our own hormones. You've got to care about this now. Back in like the 50s and 60s, like you could get away with not caring because back then things just weren't as unsafe. But now everything is targeting the endocrine system. You have to care. You have to.
And I think for people that aren't aware of it, low testosterone is not just a simple, I'm going to be more relaxed, less aggressive. It affects, as somebody that has struggled with it at certain times in my life, it sucks. It affects your sexual health. It affects your ability to be disciplined, to actually have some level of energy throughout the day, to kind of have, I hate to say alpha mentality, but to have self-confidence. Your confidence goes through the drain. And so we're talking about mental health for men, but this is physical and mental. And those little things, just changing a few different things could be the difference of why you feel like crap in the morning and you think you're a bum, when in reality it could just be simple things in your brain, your body, of how it receives testosterone or how it produces it. There's a lot of things that I've noticed in my own life has affected it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you substitute regular wholesome sexual interactions with women in person with pornography or with masturbation, that does affect.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Your testosterone with your dopamine, because you get it if you climax or you ejaculate without being with another person and you're fantasizing about somebody on a screen, then your dopamine receptors it's more addictive than heroin. So your dopamine receptors over time just become fried as a result, and it's very bad for your testosterone. I know for me, when I used to struggle with it, I had no drive. I had no focus during the day. All I wanted to do was just sleep. And so those are just some natural ways. They call it the no FAP generation, but not having that ability to say no to things that are just so readily and easily available just naturally makes you a stronger man.
I wouldn't say it was more addictive than heroin.
For your brain it is.
But you can get off of it much easier. If you say something's more addictive than something, if you've seen a heroin addict try to get off of heroin, they have to go somewhere because they can't function.
Well, it's different. It's more mental than it is physical.
But like if we want
heroin is a physical
addiction.
as well.
So maybe different than heroin. So maybe saying just making it like cocaine or something. We can put.
We're not educated to say that. But
either
I get
way,
what you're saying.
the problem is
It's
that
very different.
testosterone and dopamine are on a positive feedback loop, so they directly are correlated. So if you're destroying one, you are destroying the other. And porn and jacking off does destroy your dopamine. So unless you're peeing, stop touching your willy.
Make that a GIF. We need to make that a GIF that people can use. If you're not peeing,
don't touch your willy.
Well, we appreciate you guys. We hope that you got some value from this, because testosterone is something that is always being more researched. 5 years from now, they're going to know a lot more than they know now, but they are coming out with studies to prove that. So we'll have all the different studies in the description. We appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.
Peace.